In the 1960s, my father and I had a routine. We would wake up before dawn to make the trip to my father's school, and that trip would often involve stopping at a small, independent gas station to fill up. It was a small place where the attendant would pump gas, clean the windshield, and process our transaction. On a cold morning, we arrived as usual, but the gas station was strangely deserted. The attendant's booth was empty, and there was no sign of life around the area. My father honked the car horn several times, the sound echoing in the early morning silence, but there was no response. That's strange. He's usually here at this hour. Maybe he's late? I looked around with a sense of anxiety. I don't know. It feels strange. Is something wrong? My father tried to keep his cool, shrugging. As time passed without any sign of the attendant, my unease grew. I needed to use the restroom, but my father decided it was best to leave and find another gas. Let's go. I don't want to wait any longer. We left, and the uneasy thoughts continued to haunt me. A few days later, my father saw a disturbing article in the newspaper. It said that the body of a gas station attendant had been found at the same gas station we had stopped at that morning. He had been brutally attacked, stabbed multiple times, and left in the men's restroom. The article also said that the motive was robbery, although the amount of money taken was very small. You won't believe it. I saw an article in the newspaper today. What happened? There's that gas station attendant. He was attacked in the restroom. My heart sank as I realized the gravity of the situation. The thought of how my insistence on going to the bathroom could have led to something unimaginable haunted me. We never stopped at that gas station again, the memory of the murdered employee casting a long shadow over our subsequent trips. It was almost 4 in the morning when I pulled into one of my regular gas stations on the outskirts of town. I had been out with friends, and the combination of staying up late and exhaustion was catching up with me. I needed to fill up my tank and grab a quick cup of coffee to keep me awake for the drive home. As I entered the gas station, a short man in a hooded jacket caught my attention. He seemed out of place, hovering around with an unsettling intensity. He stared at me as I approached the counter, but I brushed it off as strange behavior common at late-night gas stations. I paid for my gas and lottery tickets, trying to ignore the man's uncomfortable stare. When I stepped out to fill up my car, the gas station was eerily quiet, with only the distant hum of the highway to fill it up. I got back in my car and started driving, feeling a sense of unease that I couldn't shake. Halfway there, a strange noise caught my attention. I glanced in the rearview mirror and my blood ran cold. There in the back seat was the man from the gas station, his eyes locked on mine with a malicious glare. My heart pounded as I screamed in terror, the sound escaping my lips like a primal cry. I slammed on the brakes, my hands shaking uncontrollably as I yelled, "Get out!" The man didn't move immediately, but then he slowly got out of the car, a crooked smile on his face. As I screamed for help, lights flashed on nearby houses and a few brave souls appeared to see what was wrong. The man looked at them and then sprinted down the street, disappearing into the night. Shaken to the core, I thanked those who had gotten out and continued driving home, making sure to keep an eye out for the man. The horror of finding him in the back seat of my car would haunt me for days, a haunting reminder of how close I had come to a terrifying encounter. Every night on the night shift, I worked alone at a deserted gas station on the edge of town. It was a job I took out of desperation, needing every penny to make ends meet. The routine was monotonous, except for one disturbing detail. A strange regular customer who appeared like clockwork around 2 a.m. The man was about 6 feet tall, with long tangled hair and an uneasy demeanor. He always came in, bought a tall bottle of beer, and left without refilling it. Over time, he became a fixture of my lonely nights, his presence growing. He mumbled to himself, occasionally leaned against a shelf, and always greeted me with uneasy cheerfulness, calling me Rob, even though my real name was something else entirely. One night, after several weeks of strange encounters, I finally dared to ask him his name. After a moment of silence, he muttered Bob, which made it clear to me that it was a fake name. His laughter was deafening, and he spoke of government conspiracies that unnerved. Then he disappeared for over a week, only to reappear one stormy night in a state that chilled me to the bone. He arrived soaked, standing motionless and staring at the wall. His wet clothes clung to him, and his eyes were wide with a madness I had never seen before. When I asked him if he was okay, he simply replied, "I did something really bad," before shuffling toward the bathroom. A sense of dread washed over me as time passed and Bob still hadn't appeared. The storm outside was raging, and the lights flickered, plunging the store into darkness. My heart was pounding as I grabbed my flashlight and ventured toward the back, where I heard disturbing noises, the dripping of water and the squeaking of wet shoes. In the pitch-black room, my flashlight revealed Bob huddled in a corner, his eyes wide with a terrifying ferocity. He lunged at me, shouting death threats. I fought him off and fled to my car, driving while calling the police. When the police arrived, they found Bob, or rather Martin, hiding in the back room, his eyes wide and his behavior ferocious. It was later discovered that Martin had brutally assaulted his ex-wife, a crime that haunted me as I left that job forever. One night, I was driving alone from North to South Texas, trying to overcome my fatigue and get home. The roads were deserted and the engine hummed steadily. I stopped at a remote gas station to fill up and buy a cup of coffee to fight off the fatigue. The station was dark, with only a few scattered lights illuminating the pumps and the small convenience store. As I walked inside, I saw a man pacing the aisles. His movements were erratic, and he seemed to be watching me closely. I tried to ignore him as I walked to the coffee machine. The man approached me, making a strange comment about the coffee being hot before abruptly leaving the store. I didn't think much of it and continued with my daily routine. At the counter, I paid for my coffee and gas, but the man reappeared, standing too close behind me. His behavior was unsettling, and he began asking me personal questions. I felt increasingly uncomfortable as he made another creepy comment about my shirt and asked where I was going. His intrusive questions made my skin crawl, and I firmly told him to leave me alone. As I exited the store, I saw the man standing next to my car, watching me intently from behind the gas pump. The sense of danger increased when he asked me if I was alone. I quickly reached for the pepper spray I kept in my car, keeping it handy as I continued pumping gas. The man's presence was intimidating, and I feared he might be waiting for an opportunity to attack. When the gas pump clicked, I had to go inside to get change for the remaining amount. As I entered the store, I kept looking into the parking lot, but the man was gone. I waited anxiously for another customer to arrive before seeking help. A pickup truck pulled up, and I approached the driver, asking him to check to see if the man was hiding around my car. He complied, and soon I heard the man's panicked voice as he was discovered hunched over behind my car. He fled into the darkness, leaving me shocked and grateful for the intervention. The incident left me deeply unsettled, a stark reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows of late-night pit stops. If you enjoyed this creepy story and want to hear more horror stories that will take your breath away, please give this video a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. By liking and subscribing, you'll never miss out on the latest horror stories and safety tips to stay alert. Your support helps us bring you more thrilling content and build our community of horror enthusiasts. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when new videos are released. Stay safe and stay scared.